Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to lecture 1, part 1 of chapter 4. For this lecture, please, you have to read the textbook. You have to read pages 206 to 216. We're going to have 3 different lectures, 3 or 4 lectures on chapter 4. So this is part 1. And again, you have to read a few pages in the textbook. If not, you will not quite understand everything happening in this one. Chapter 4 is about mind and body. What is the mind, or what is the soul? Questions like this are asked on chapter 4. What is the mind? Can non-living things have a mind? Can a flower have a mind? Can a river have a mind? Can a robot, machine, have a mind? Can a mind exist separately from the body? Can there be a disembodied mind? We all know our bodies will die. What happens to our minds after we die? Can the mind survive the death of our bodies? So chapter 4 gives you some theories about minds. So let's simply go over one of them in this lecture. So the one we're going to explain is called substance dualism. It's also called Cartesian dualism. The definitions is given in page 6 of the textbook. It says mind and body consist of 2 fundamentally different kind of things. Mind and body are completely different, distinct, separate things. To put this in plain English, when Father God was making the world, God made 2 different things. Physical things, like bodies, like trees, like rivers, like tables. And God made non-physical or immaterial things, like mind, like spirit, like soul. Some things only have physical stuff, like a table doesn't have a mind, a river doesn't have a mind. But human beings, we are made of 2 different parts, bodies and minds, or souls. Bodies are physical, material. They're made of atoms and molecules and cells and tissues and organs and so forth. Bodies of size and shape and weight and mass and color and taste and flavor and so forth. Bodies are public. You can see them. They're visible. You can kiss them. But mind or soul is not the same. If you were to take a single thought in your mind, does it have a color? No. I can say my weight is 170. How much does your mind weigh? What is the size of your mind, of your thoughts? I can say I'm a black man. Do thoughts have colors? Red thoughts, blue thoughts, yellow thoughts? You see, obviously not. So all the characteristics of the body, like size and weight and shape and color and mass and taste and flavor and visibility, they're not true of the mind. Hence, the mind is something completely different from the body. So this is why our bodies eventually die, because the body is subject to the laws of physics and chemistry and genetics and biology, etc. But the mind, since the mind is immaterial, it's not made of atom, molecule, cells. The mind, according to this theory, is immortal. When the body dies, the mind is not affected because the mind doesn't have the physical properties of our bodies. So bodies are physical, minds are non-physical or immaterial. You can't see mind, you can't touch mind. In fact, if you remove every atom, every cell from my brain, every molecule, you're not going to see mind, you're not going to see memory, thoughts, beliefs, imagination. So they're 2 two different kind of things. Now, one question that this raises is that, okay, human beings, are we the only creatures with mind or with a soul? In the past, the belief that we have souls led to what's called anthropocentrism. Anthropocentrism says human beings are the center of the universe. We are superior to all things. This is sort of a religious view. In the Bible, it says we are made in the image of God. So this is why we are smarter. We are more intelligent than all living things on the planet. We can do philosophy, science, poetry, music, mathematics, architecture. The animals, not so much. They sleep, they eat, they poop, they fight wars, they have sex, they have children, and after that they die. But human beings, there's something different about us. We went all the way to the moon in 1969. I don't know if it will happen in the future, but I'm not thinking one day the chickens will build a spaceship and fly all the way to the moon. It's highly unlikely. The belief that we have souls, we are made in the image of God, again, led to anthropocentrism, that is man-centered. Human beings are the center of the universe. We are superior to all things. This is one reason why we eat meat in our culture, because the animals don't have a soul. That's why we barbecue the chickens. This is also why in scientific experimentation, often you can't use human beings, you use animals. When they have new drugs, vaccines that scientists, doctors have to test them, you see, you can't test them on a human being because a human being has a soul. Now, our justice system also, to some extent, assumes this to be true. Notice even a murderer, even a rapist, even a terrorist, they have rights. You can't just kill them because there's something divine in them. So even though we have separation of church and state in this country, but the law assumes this about human beings. There's something interesting in you. You're more intelligent than all the other creatures on the planet. Why? There's a divine soul in you. So this is the main reason why in our culture we believe in immortality of the soul. The soul will never die. The body dies because the body is atoms, molecules, cells. The soul is something different. Again, think about it. Imagination is not made of cells and molecules. Memories are not made of cells and molecules. So there's something different about us. Now, one of the objections against this view is this. Okay, well, if it's true, mind is immaterial, bodies are material, they have nothing in common. Again, one last time. Bodies have size and shape and color and mass and weight and flavors and taste, and they're visible. The mind, the soul, the spirit doesn't have any color, any shape, any smell, any taste, any flavor, none of that. Then tell me, how do the two of them connect? How is it mind and body? Somehow they cause each other to do things. We feel our minds and our bodies, they're connected. It is as if they're one. If I think of raising my hand, you see, I raise my hand. But how can something immaterial exist in something material? Where is it located, you see? I can't say my mind is on my finger. That's location. In fact, if you break the finger, you won't see the mind or the soul. I can't say my soul or my mind is on my brain or my nose, my eyes. In fact, no body part. It doesn't have any location because only physical things have location. So where is this mind, this soul thing located? In fact, again, if you remove everything from the body of a person, all the atoms, the molecules, the cells, the tissues, the organs, nobody will see the soul. So where is this thing? Where is it? And what is it made? What is the soul made of? The person who championed this theory was René Descartes. He thought the soul was in the pineal gland. It's a tiny, tiny gland inside the brain. But this doesn't make sense because the pineal gland is also something physical, material. So how could the soul be inside of it? This idea also leads to what's called solipsism. I can't see your mind. How do I know you have a mind? I can see your body. Of course, you cannot behave like me. So I assume I compare my behavior to your behavior. Based on that, I conclude, well, you must have a mind just like me. But you see, nobody can access your mind. So how do you know you have a mind? Think of it this way. If a lion and let's say a fish, a lion and a fish, if they wanted to have a fight, if they wanted to meet, hug each other, kiss each other, or have a battle, there's no way a lion can meet with a fish because the lion is on dry land, the fish is in the ocean. The fish will not come to dry land, the lion will not go into the ocean. So where exactly can the fish and the lion meet? They're two different things. Likewise, if the body and the mind are two different things, where do they meet? How do they meet? And frankly, the author of this view, people like Plato and Descartes, they don't really give us a good answer to this question. Now, one way they try to make it work, some of the members was called parallelism. Parallelism. This is not in the textbook, but this definition will be in the notes posted online for you guys. It says mind and bodies, they're parallel. They never meet. If you recall back in high school, they teach us two parallel lines on a flat surface, they never meet. Two parallel lines, they can never meet. They could go on and on forever, but they cannot meet. So likewise, the bodies and the mind, they're something like this. There's a French thinker called Malebranche. Malebranche. He embraced what's called occasionalism. Occasionalism. He thought, since mind and body, they're different things. If I think of raising my hand, it's not the thought that causes the hand to go up, because the thought is immaterial. So it can't really cause my hand to go up. So whenever I raise my hand, whenever I do anything, it's actually God who interferes and causes my hand to go up. If I pull a gun, yes, I thought of it, but my thought can't cause the hand to go up. It's actually God who interferes and pull the trigger for me. This means our bodies are not moved by our minds. So whenever the body moves, it's God who interferes and moves the body. That's how far you have to go to make this thing work. That's how far you have to go to make it work. Because again, it's not clear. We can't quite explain how something immaterial can exist in our material bodies. Some embrace what's called pre-established harmony. Pre-established harmony. This idea says the relation between mind and body was established by God since the creation of the world. When I think of raising my hand goes up, is because since God made the world, God knows the future. God knew today I would be making this lecture, I would be giving that example, I would raise my hand, then God programmed my mind and my body to work together. But it's not really my mind that causes my body to move. Hence, this view is called pre-established harmony. That is, God pre-established the correlation between the body and the mind. So bodies and mind, they don't really touch, they don't really cause each other to do anything, they exist like two parallel lines. One problem with this, if this is true, there's no free will. You're not acting freely because since the creation of the world, God sort of programmed your mind and your body to work simultaneously at the same time. One way to make this idea work, some people embrace what's called EPPhenomenalism. EPPhenomenalism. This is defined in page 210 in the textbook, page 210. This idea says the mind simply accompanies the body. That is, the mind doesn't have any effect on the body. Think of the mind like your shadow. Whenever there's sunlight, you see a shadow of yourself, but the shadow has no power. The shadow can't cause you to do anything. Likewise, the mind comes from the brain, but the mind doesn't have any causal power. The mind cannot do anything for the body. The mind can't move the body. Or think of the body as fire and the mind as smoke. The fire causes the smoke, but the smoke doesn't have any relationship with the fire. That is, the smoke cannot cause the fire to do anything. The smoke has no power over the fire. The fire is the one that creates the smoke. Likewise, the mind comes from the body, but the mind has no power, no causal power over the body. The same way the smoke can't cause anything on the fire, the same way the shadow can't cause anything over your body, likewise the mind cannot cause anything. To make this work, some people embrace what's called property dualism. The definition is also in page 210. This idea says the mind comes from the body, but you can't reduce the mind to our bodies. Mental properties cannot be reduced to physical or brain properties. Think of it this way. When you fall in love, when you see the person that you love, the brain would release certain chemicals that make you feel happy and warm and smiling because you see the person that you love. But love is not brain chemistry. If you want to know what love is, you don't look inside the brain of someone. So therefore, you can't reduce love to brain chemicals. They're just different things. But whenever you love, then you see the brain gets involved in there. Those chemicals that make you feel warm and happy when you see the person that you love. So property dualism says, yes, it is the same thing. Our minds emerge out of the brain. They come from the complexities of the brain. But you can't really reduce mind to brain. The same way you can't reduce love to brain chemistry, you can't the same way you can't reduce love to brain chemicals, likewise you can't reduce thinking, imagination, willing, wanting, hoping. You can't reduce the mind to brain chemistry. So even though this is pretty much the common sense theory, that is, human beings have two parts, our bodies and our souls, it's really hard to explain how the two of them meet. So again, the same way it's difficult to explain where a lion and a fish would meet, it's hard because the lion is on dry land, the fish is in the ocean. It's hard to explain where exactly the mind, the soul is. It can't be in my finger because this is a location and only physical things have location. One idea that could save this view is to think of the mind as space. Think of the soul as space. Space is real, space exists, but notice you can't see space. You can't touch space. It doesn't have a smell, a color, a taste, a flavor. This building exists in space. Notice you could touch this building, you can break this building, You could paint the building with a different color, but you don't really affect, touch the space itself. The building will die, the building will eventually break, crumble, but the space itself is just there. So space is invisible. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't smell it. It's got no color. It doesn't look like anything. But space is real, just like the building is, just like the body is, the flower is. In fact, the entire world exists in space. All objects, trees, people, butterflies, weavers, birds, tigers, lions, everything exists in space. So space is the foundation. So likewise, the body exists in the soul. The same way all things exist in space, space has a different, space doesn't share their properties. All physical objects eventually will pass away, disappear, die, crumble, but the space remains. Likewise, my molecules, my atoms, my tissues, my organs, my brains, my entire body exists in the soul. The body will die, but the soul, like space, can't be touched because it's not made of physical things like atoms and like atoms and molecules and cells and so forth. So even though this seems a bit strange, so again, this is the common sense view. It's simply hard to explain what this soul is and where this soul is. I'm not saying the soul is like space, but this is this is the only thing I know you can compare mind or the soul to. Both are invisible, in space, like the mind, like the soul, has no color, no shape, no smell, no taste, no flavor, no mass, no weight, but space is real. Likewise, according to this idea, you have to conclude the soul is also real. Objects exist in space, our bodies exist in our minds. That's it for lecture 1. In lecture 2 of chapter 4, we'll discuss materialism. And materialism says actually the soul doesn't exist. There's only bodies. Thank you for watching.